A few videos ago, I reviewed Red Alert 3 and said this. But unlike in other videos, I'm going to cover them in more detail in a separate video. So look out for that sometime in the next wee while. There will be a link in the description once it's released. I'm a man of my word, so here you go. Some very quick looks at a handful of some of the best and most popular mods for Red Alert 3. Keep in mind that this isn't meant to be a comprehensive list, so try not to hold a grudge against me if I didn't get to your favourite. Right, unlike your last Tinder date, I won't waste any of your time, so let's get right into it. Timecodes and download links are in the description. To start, we have Red Alert 3 Reloaded, a mod that aims to improve the core game without trying to recreate it. It's built as an enhancement mod with a ton of changes to nearly all aspects of gameplay. So that's unit rebalancing and additions, different requirements for buildings and technology, cost balancing, and more. There's also the expected new units and structures, though that's not the headlining feature of this mod. A lot of it was pulled from Uprising, Red Alert 3's expansion, and there's a handful of entirely new ones outside of that as well. Technically, the mod is in great shape and it saw a finished final release in version 1.2 back in 2013. I like to see that, as there's so many mods that seem to be left in a bug-riddled limbo and never get completed. So if you're looking for a very stable and competently put together enhancement of Red Alert 3, then look no further than Reloaded. On the surface, the Revolution mod might seem similar to Reloaded, and I'll admit they're certainly comparable. But Revolution takes a slightly different approach, with improvements to the visuals and sound effects coming in as part of the package. It's still positioned as an improvement rather than a rebuild of Red Alert 3, but puts more time into further diversifying each faction through things like new upgrades and abilities. I felt like Revolution went further than Reloaded in terms of new content, and I think it has more exciting content to boot, but the slightly more reserved nature of the former might be more to some people's taste. Like Reloaded, Revolution was also completely finished and saw a final release in 2012. I loved Revolution and I preferred it to Reloaded, but at the end of the day they are quite similar, so if you're unsure I'd recommend trying them both to see what you personally prefer. Alright, this is Generals Evolution, which aims to remake CNC Generals in Red Alert 3. I've been looking forward to this one. And it crashed. Okay, no worries, let's try that again and crash. God damn it. Editor Zade here. I was really keen to try this, but after troubleshooting and reinstalling, it was still the same. I couldn't really justify spending too much time trying to get it working, so unfortunately I did have to leave it behind. Turns out it was only a demo anyway, and as far as I can tell there have been no further releases since 2013, so maybe I'm not missing out on much. Let me know in the comments if you've played it and if it's any good, I'd really be interested to hear. Okay, back to the video. My second most anticipated mod, the Red Alert, aims to recreate the original Red Alert and Red Alert 3's fancy 3D engine. Probably the biggest departure from the original game on this list, I was really impressed with how faithful this mod is to the source material. I can't speak to how things like fine unit balances and such are implemented, but if the accuracy of the rest of the mod is anything to go by, I'd say it's entirely likely that there's been a lot of work put into it. Both the Soviets and group of allied factions are represented, and it's pretty sweet to have all of these classic Red Alert 1 elements in this fancy engine. Plus, it's strangely refreshing to have a break from Red Alert 3's craziness, and get back to basics with some good old tanks and infantry. It runs really well and I didn't run into any sort of bugs or weird things, and it also got a full release in 2013. While the Red Alert would likely be the most creatively complex on this list, conceptually it is one of the simplest. Put Red Alert 1 and Red Alert 3's engine, and I gotta say, it's a task its creators have pulled off very, very well. Okay, last up. Like our first two, Shock Therapy is a partial conversion that, and I quote, tries to fix, improve, and add content which vanilla Red Alert 3 missed, forgot, or was unable to do. It includes updates to graphics and sound effects, balance changes, new and previously campaign-only units, and more. I really like the visual updates, and I think those and the new sound effects are the best of any mod on this list. The lighting effects on the Tesla tank, which is the mod's namesake, are particularly awesome. Unfortunately, Shock Therapy was never completely finished. While it's not super buggy or anything like that, its last release was a fairly small balance update in version 1.011 back in early 2011. Since then there was a development update in late 2012 saying the mod was slowly restarting development after a hiatus, and then nothing since. So it's dead. It's a shame because it sounds like they had some pretty exciting stuff planned in the pipeline, which we will never see. Still, the current version is well put together, and maybe its flavour of Red Alert 3 will be more preferable for you when you compare it to the others that are out there. I hope you enjoyed that brief look at some of the mods available for Red Alert 3. I had intended for this video to include more in-depth and conversion mods like General's Evolution and Paradox. However, with them both constantly crashing and no obvious way to fix it, I had to leave them behind. It could be to do with having the game through Origin, as I did have to download some custom launchers in order to actually run anything at all, but it's what I've got and there's videos to be made, so I had to move on. I do apologise if I didn't get to a mod you were hoping for, so feel free to flame me in the comments if you think I missed a particularly important one. And let me know what your favourite is. If I had to rank what I looked at today from bottom to top, I think it would go Reloaded, Shock Therapy, Revolution, and finally the Red Alert being my favourite. If you'd like to support the channel, then please like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And if you really like what I do here, then YouTube memberships are a great way to do just that. There's even some perks, like joining these lovely people on this fancy list. Finally, if you'd like to follow me for updates on the channel and future videos, then you can do so over on Twitter. Big thanks again, and I'll see you all in the next one in just a couple of weeks.